Hello and welcome to podcast 41 from Football-Oranje. I, Michael Statham, am with fellow writer and Football-Oranje editor Michael Bell to talk about the Netherlands' upcoming Nations League fixtures against France and Germany. Can they qualify from their group? We're available on YouTube, SoundCloud and iTunes as usual. We hope you enjoy this podcast. Michael, we're about to go into a double header of Netherlands fixtures in the UEFA Nations League. They've got France at home first before an away match against Germany. It's going to be good. If the Netherlands win the group, they've got a great chance of qualifying for the Euros at such an early stage. And I'm just looking at the squad here for the upcoming two games. And are you pleased with the squad? I mean, there's not much that's changed. Is that a sign of progress for consistency in this squad?
Yeah, I think definitely. I think during the last international period, I think it brought back a lot of confidence around the national team, and I think that Koeman's basically went with the same squad that he went with last time. He said basically during his press conference he didn't want to bring in too many new faces. He brought in one, Dilrosun, the winger from Hertha Berlin, who had a great start to the season in Germany. He deserves his call up because Dan Juma's injured, so he's going to miss out this time. So he's just his replacement. It's just another young, speedy winger on the squad that can, cause problems for France or Germany. It's a really talented young squad. I don't think there's much changes needed at all in any position really. I think going forward, this is sort of Koeman's. His choices are pretty solid.
It's becoming quite stable in the choices he's making. The next question though is about tactics. It's fine to have the same players, but I really liked how Ronald Koeman switched from a 5-3-2 to a 4-3-3 for the last game, and it worked a treat. And it was great to see him again playing with three attackers, three midfielders, and not so much a defensive tactic against the big sides. And for me, that works because you've got Frenkie de Jong who can sort of sit as a fifth defender, if you like, during play, and then if it ever breaks up, he's there sitting back, waiting to make interceptions. But is there anything you would change about the tactics? Do you like five at the back, or do you think the 4-3-3 is better?
No, I think Koeman got it perfect the last time out when he switched back to 4-3-3. But the great thing about this Netherlands side is the players that can adapt. So you've got the likes of Daley Blind who can switch 2 or 3 positions. You had Ryan Babel playing, nearly a left wing back role at times during the last international period. You've got these players that can play dual roles in the 11, and it switches constantly. And I think that's what Koeman's got perfectly right. And as you say, you've got somebody like Frenkie de Jong in the middle who can just, coast through games, control it. And that's the player that Netherlands have been missing for basically the past couple of years, and he's just been a revelation so far.
Yeah, I think De Jong's made that difference. Why the tactics have been changed and have been tweaked. I think another reason as well is before Koeman said we're playing five at the back because it sticks to the squad strengths, in that there are many great central defenders coming through. But another reason is that he's gone back to four at the back, I think, is because the fullbacks, the ones that he's got available, aren't the strongest choices at the moment. For example, Karsdorp's out injured, and we're yet to see a regular left back of true Netherlands national team quality come through. Van Aanholt's good. Daley Blind is okay at left back, better than a centre back at least. And I think, yeah, the change to four at the back is to suit the needs of those players. For example, you're not going to play Denzel Dumfries as a right wing back. I think that's a little bit awkward. But yeah, do you think that works, the players available? Because you're playing four at the back and then you've got three attackers, or does that leave them open to say that second match they've got to go away to Germany? So does a 4-3-3 work there, or just you think Koeman should go back to the five?
No, I think stick with a 4 at the back, and then, as I said, like you've got somebody like Ryan Babel who came into basically playing a left back role, and that shoves basically Daley Blind from being a left back into the centre. I mean, there's ways of doing it and keeping this tactic. I just think that with the wing backs that he's got, Dumfries is good going forward, and the whole strength of this Netherlands side right now is the counter attack. It's soaking up the pressure, letting France and Germany come on getting the ball back, giving it to Frankie de Jong or Van Eijden, starting to attack, and then letting somebody like Bergwijn, Memphis, Dumfries race down to the other end of the pitch and score goals. That's what happened basically 3 times against Germany. A high press, win the ball back, and break with speed. And I think this tactic's perfect for that.
More great news for the Netherlands, as well as having all these great selections available. Injury news, and France, the first match on Friday, currently out injured, are Pogba, Martial, Mendy and Lacazette. 4 great players in that squad. And Germany as well having a couple of injuries with Draxler and Mark Uth, the striker. Is that going to make a difference? And does that give the Dutch a realistic chance of qualifying from this group?
I think you look at the France injuries. I mean, the one you can say is definitely going to be a miss is Pogba. I think he's crucial for that France side. But then, you look at France's squad and you say, oh, Pogba's out, that might be Netherlands having a great chance. But then you look at the rest of the squad, you've still got to deal with Mbappe and Griezmann up front, Giroud, who caused Netherlands problems in the last match and scored. Even if it weakens their midfield slightly, they've still got the likes of Kante and Matuidi. I think it definitely weakens France's options and gives Netherlands a bigger chance, which is great. But I don't think Netherlands can necessarily think, oh, this is a weakened France side, because I don't think there is such a thing at the moment. I think their squad's just too good at the moment. It levels maybe the playing field a little bit since Netherlands at home, but I still think it's a very even match, and I still probably make France even just slight favourites for it.
So you don't think the Dutch will be able to beat France on home turf?
I think they can, definitely. I think if they play to their best, they can definitely win this match. But, still, this is the world champions are coming up against, the best probably nation in the world at the moment. It'd be, doing them probably a disservice if I just say that, Netherlands are going to go into this and win it. Because, like the last time out, they only played again in probably Amsterdam a couple of years ago. I know this one's in Rotterdam, which makes it a bit more atmospheric in Netherlands' favour. But France won that game. Netherlands don't really have a great recent record against them. I really hope it changes, and I'm hoping Netherlands can get the result that's needed. But it's just, this is France. It's not going to be easy.
It's not going to be easy. They are the world champions. But doesn't that like little buzz kick in just before the match where you think the Dutch are going to win? And I'm looking at the fact that they're playing in Rotterdam. It's Friday night. It's going to be a great atmosphere. And when the Dutch went to France, they only lost 2-1, and they didn't do themselves any disservice. Yes, the France had more of the play, but I think the Dutch were unlucky not to come away with a draw from that match. If Van Dijk was a little bit tighter to Giroud, then it would have been 1-1, I think, in that match. So they're becoming a more level playing field, and I think the Dutch, having beaten Germany 3-0 at home, that's going to give them great confidence too. So I actually think they've got a great chance, and a draw is not the end of the world either. If you consider that the Dutch play France at home and then Germany away on the Monday, the Netherlands currently sit with 3 points in their group after 2 matches. France 7 points from 3. Germany are bottom with 1 point from 3 matches. At this point, we have to be happy. Having looked back, we have to be happy with the Netherlands staying in this group, don't we? The fact that Germany will end up getting relegated, and yes, France will go through, but that's a great success considering recent misfortune with the Dutch national team.
Yeah, I think definitely if you go back to when this draw was made, I think most Netherlands fans were, disappointed to see that we got probably at that point before the World Cup thinking probably 2 of the best nations in the world. Germany were strong at that point when the draw was made, and France were this up and coming nation. They hadn't won the World Cup yet, but they still fought all these great players. You didn't really rate Netherlands' chances, but what Koeman's done is fantastic. It's given the nation hope again. I think even the draw in Belgium last time out, everything around this national team right now is so positive, and it's going to be a great boost if it's a rivalry. It'll be great for Netherlands to actually relegate Germany. That's going to be great. But I think the main thing is staying in this Division A and placing themselves in pot 1 for the actual Euro 2020 draw, and being one of those top 10 nations for that. which looks a bit sealed on at the moment. In other groups, I think Poland and Iceland are hopeless, and I think they're going to be the bottom two. And that means Netherlands will definitely be one of the top seeds for the Euro 2020 qualifiers. And when the draw's made in December, I think that's the main thing that Koeman's focusing on. Because even if, they were outside the top two, in that, when it actually gets to Euro 2020 qualifiers, if they finish outside the top two, being in a group with Germany and France, if they automatically qualify, Netherlands reach the playoffs anyway because they're in this group. It's a great situation for Netherlands right now. It's basically almost nailed on that if we can finish in the top 10, that we will be at Euro 2020.
Yeah, I think some listeners might be a little bit confused why actually finishing second in this group still gives them a chance of qualifying for Euro 2020. There's many different rules, aren't there, Mike? But one of them ends up with all the first place teams in the group go through, but there are also some second place teams that can go through, and I think that is because of teams that have already qualified for the Euros. Is that right?
Yeah. So what happens is basically the Euro 2020 qualifiers, the top two from each group goes into Euro 2020 as sealed. There's also playoffs, and the playoffs are for the group winners. So if, say, France won this group and they didn't qualify for the regular route, they'd still have a chance in the playoffs. But you'd think that France would automatically qualify, and even if Germany were in a group, you'd think they would automatically qualify. And if Netherlands didn't finish in the top two, then they'd get that spot. So, UEFA have basically made it almost nailed on that the top teams will be there. So I think, it's looking, fingers crossed, that's Netherlands are definitely going to be at Euro 2020, regardless of what really happens over the next 7 days. But I think, you've got to go in there with the most confidence possible, and you've got to hope that Netherlands can finish the job, and who knows, even get into beat France and Germany and go to the next round and seal it, automatically.
Well, it has to be ridiculous if the Dutch cannot qualify for the Euros. So there's going to be 24 places at Euro 2020, and if the Dutch cannot qualify through the normal way of qualifying and they cannot qualify for the Nations League, then they definitely deserve to be there. We want to be there, we want to win, we want to be one of the best teams at the competition and getting far in it. And yeah, there's ample chance to do that. So let's get down to the nitty-gritty, Mike. Let's get some predictions in. And of course, it's hard to say because one match will depend on the other. So if the Dutch lose to France, all of a sudden it becomes all about beating Germany, or if the Dutch beat France, it might be a different reflection. And again, so yeah, we'll see what happens. But let me get two predictions from you. First of all, Netherlands, France on Friday. What do you think?
Well, I worked with Germany, me saying that we're going to win 3-0, so I'm going to go Netherlands 2-0 against France, and I'm going to say Memphis scores both goals just to get one over on all these fans and critics in France that are giving him a hard time at the moment. I think he's going to be very pumped up for this match, and I think he'll be the star. 2 goals for Memphis, 2-0 win.
Nice one. I think we should touch on Memphis while we're here. What do you think about the whole situation? Because he was called out, wasn't he, for not training as hard as the players and almost treating himself as different and special from the other Lyon players. But in the Dutch national team, he seems to be flourishing and becoming such a leader of his team. What's your opinion on it all?
I think it's just all very strange. I think it's one of these situations where I don't know if it's because of the type of person he is. Off the field, he's quite flamboyant, that he draws attention to himself, and he has these people that just want to bring him down constantly. Because it does seem to be that Lyon are one of these sides that can hammer teams one week and then lose to possibly the bottom side in the league, embarrassingly next week. And it seems that whenever Lyon lose, Memphis is the man that's blamed for it. And I thought it was quite harsh that they were beating Hoffenheim. It was quite comfortable. Memphis was taken off the pitch. I know Hoffenheim were down to 10 men. It seemed that they were going to win, and then Hoffenheim equalised in the last minute. I know Memphis missed a few chances, but he also set up quite a lot. And the French press were brutal in their criticism of him, and I know some of the home crowd jeered him as well. I think it's probably to do with his comments from from previous games. But I think what you need to realise is Memphis is a winner, and he wants to be the best, and he has that winning mentality that some people might just get a little annoyed by. You know, he rocked his teammates when they conceded in the last minute against Hoffenheim in the previous match. And you know, if you don't have someone like that around, you know, you're not going to win things. And I think Memphis just wants to get the best out of his teammates, wants to get the best out of himself. And then you see it, you know, they criticise him, but then, you know, without him on Saturday, he scores twice, sets up 2 goals, and they win, you know, again 4-2. And, you know, 2 brilliant goals, and suddenly he's the favourite in Lyon again. It's crazy over there. You know, if they lose their next game, I guess Memphis will be getting blamed again. But when he pulls on that Netherlands shirt, he's been the star for the last possibly 2-3 international periods. He's Netherlands' probably best attacker at the moment. He's probably stepped up since Arjen Robben retired, and yeah, he's crucial right now. And I think he's once again going to be the man to watch over the next 2 games as well.
Yeah, I agree, and I don't think you can say that his confidence will be knocked due to his unfortunate times at Lyon. He will be absolutely raring to go to once again leave the Netherlands and prove critics wrong, as you said. Back to prediction. You said 2-0 to the Dutch. I think it would be a draw. I think it'd be quite tight. No, I think it could be 1-1. I said I was quite confident, but that's considering before, when the Dutch play France. France just basically when the Dutch were home, France were by far the best team. But it's time to show how far they've come. Yeah, I think that will be a draw. Germany, Netherlands. What do you think about that one?
I think what we saw last time is, you know, this Germany side's not, you know, as great as it was. I know they missed a lot of chances against the Netherlands. It could have been a different game if some of them went in, but it's definitely a side that Netherlands should not fear. I think they'll be under a lot of pressure in this game, and I think Netherlands can actually get a draw in this one. I think it can be a 1-1. I think Germany will attack a lot from the start, and that might just open up chances for Netherlands. As I said, they're a team that is so comfortable playing now on the break that soaking up pressure is easy for them now. They've got probably 2 of the best centre-backs in the world. Soak up the pressure, then hit them on a break. It could be all you really need this Netherlands side is to give them one chance, and they'll take it. And I think that's what they'll do in Germany, and get maybe a 1-1 draw and relegate the Germans, which would be great, in their own patch.
I think, yeah, the Dutch take that 1-1 draw right now if it was handed to them. Would it guarantee them going through if they lost to France and drew with Germany?
They wouldn't go through, but they would stay in the Division A for the next Nations League in 4 years' time. It means they wouldn't get relegated, so they wouldn't be playing inferior nations in 4 years' time. They'd be amongst the top.
Still staying amongst those top teams. So if they do draw with France, they're going to end up with 4 points, and it will leave the Germany needing to beat the Netherlands very well to progress. So I think, again, you could see that the Netherlands are keeping it tight, keeping it steady, and yeah, I'm gonna say the easy way out and say draw again, 1-1, 2 draws.
I think if you offer that to Koeman now, he'd probably snap your hand off. But yeah, 2 draws would be fantastic for Koeman, I think.
Let's see how they get on. Well, we have good news for Netherlands women to finish off our podcast, that they have progressed to the World Cup this summer, and it's being held in France this summer. And yeah, how important is this again after the Euro win? This is massive for Dutch women's football. I guess Dutch football as a whole, but women's football in the Netherlands is surely at an all-time high after a Euro win and then a World Cup qualification.
Yeah, definitely. I think this Netherlands women's side is extraordinary. I think it's one of the best in the world. I think it was a shock that they finished second in the group. It was just a couple of bad results. Meant them in the playoffs, but once they've been in the playoffs, they've been excellent, and they've swept the Swiss women's team away. And they deserve to be in the finals next year. And I think next summer can be a great time for Netherlands. I think the whole nation will get behind them, and It could be that first Netherlands World Cup win, and it could be the women that get it over the men.
Well, Mike, thanks for joining me on this shorter than usual podcast tonight. This was it's a pretty spontaneous decision to do this podcast, but we thought we really need to get something in before the France and Germany matches ahead. So thanks for your time. And yeah, another podcast will be out very soon for listeners.